African Dawn was another casualty of the economic crash of 2008-2009. After reversing into the ABC-Cashplus shell in 2005, it expanded rapidly as an unsecured money lender but ran aground when credit tightened and bad loan write-offs overwhelmed the balance sheet. The remaining business is involved in short-term risk solutions bridging loans. The group has a market cap of 81 million rand and a price-to-earnings ratio of 2. Where do we stand on African Dawn? This is now verging on the short-term insurance space.
Well, look, it was a spectacular story, even more spectacular than Blue. You know, Morris von Tonda and Connie van Niekerk bought this thing over the ABC-Cashplus, basically traded like 5 cents. They took it all the way up to like 565. There were an enormous number of brokers in this town who were punting this stock, getting people to buy single stock futures. Basically, when it all unwound, Nedbank controlled all of the shares and still controls all of the shares because the executives had used their shares as collateral for more single stock futures loans. So the whole thing basically just had a nuclear meltdown. The business itself got into dire trouble because they'd extended loans to all sorts of people with dodgy collateral. So they did some share-based lending. They were involved with construction and bridging finance, you know, when you had a bond or you were busy building something. So really it was another lesson, if you need one, of what can go wrong in the money lending game.
Is it fixed? I think that's what we've got to focus on.
Well, the new CEO was a debt counselor before he took the job, so he seems perfectly qualified to try and restructure the corporate balance sheet. I don't know. I mean, what is left is really just a couple of really tiny businesses, and they've changed the board completely. All these previous people were shot and fired, and Nedbank sort of like of keeping it on life support in order to see what they can do in terms of runoff. Maybe something can be made of the businesses there, but they're not particularly impressive businesses, or the scale is not really there.
Paul's going to have investors running for the hills here. Daniel, any other thoughts, perhaps more positive on African Dawn?
Not necessarily. I mean, the stock was trading at 5 Rand around its highs. It went to 6 cents. It did a rights offer for 25 million Rand at 10 cents. Now it's 16 cents. Trying to turn the business around, but very tough environment they're facing as well. They've centralized a lot of their operations, their IT and their financing, so they're trying to really minimize down on costs. They're doing a limited marketing campaign because of lack of capital. They're struggling to get funds again, like Blue Financial Services, to be able to loan out. So not looking too positive, unfortunately, for African Dawn. And again, there's stiff competition, you know, for the small guys like Blue Financial Services, African Dawn, and the company we'll be talking about just now. So not looking too good.
Hot or not, Paul?
Nah, not until such time as we see, you know, what the full impact of the wind out and the balance sheet looks like. No, not hot.
Need I even ask you hot or not, Daniel, on African Dawn?
Not hot, eh? I mean, there's just so much increased competition, and it's a concern because, you know, these small companies, these small micro lenders, they could start to, you know, lend to even less qualified customers, you know, which could cause even more problems for them down the line because of the increased competition. So I don't see African Dawn being a great investment in the short term.